Okay, now for the Super Avante Extras unboxing. This is not an unboxing of the car. There's a lot of those on YouTube that you can go check out. I'm going to link to RcKicks' Super Avante unboxing, and then also his 2 build videos. In the end, he didn't super like the car. He liked building the chassis, but the body he didn't like. But to each their own, so it's all good. He did some big changes to the body. I'm doing less changes. So, first extra we have is going to be this decal sheet. So, these right here, just the Avante 4-wheel drive. This is off the Avante Black. This goes on the tail wing. I added Super to that. And then we also have 2 5s. These are from the classic Avante. And they're pretty big, these stickers, because the second thing that we changed for upgrading purposes is we have a recreation tail wing from an egress. So as you can see, that's going to have the Super Avante on it. It's much bigger than the standard tail wing. It's wider. It's wider this way. Maybe it's about the same width, a little wider, and then way higher. And then these walls, as you can see, the 5 sit wonderfully in there. And then I'm thinking about maybe putting Tamiya logo at the front or these 4-wheel drive logos at the front. We're not sure. I'm thinking maybe a Tamiya, maybe the smaller one, maybe these smaller 4-wheel drives. Who knows? I made 2 of these. I measured it out with calipers. These are also off the original Avante. I'm going to use these on the Super Avante to bring some of that classic flair. I'm really going for a paint job on this thing that's going to be very reminiscent of the original Avante, with no yellow except for in the stickers, and then a blue body. I'm going to back the blue and white, and then back that in black, so it's all like nice and dark inside. The tail wing, I think, is really going to make it pop. I think this body needs a bigger tail wing just to look nicer. I'm also going to be painting in these. This is getting painted in, and this is getting painted in. I don't know where I'm going to stick the lights yet. I don't necessarily want to stick them on the body, because if I can stick them on the chassis, it just makes life easier when taking the body on and off. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. This window, though, I will be leaving open, because the idea of seeing the shocks inside the front end, that's just too cool. It's too cool, so I have to. So, we've covered these sheets. We've covered the tail wing. But that is far from all we have for this little Super Avante. Let's go with the default things. We have receiver. This is the exact same receiver that's in the Frog. So when I bind this to my radio, I can switch between the Frog and the Avante. We have a Savox low-profile servo. I looked into Savox. They seem to be pretty good. So I'm pretty excited about this. It makes me want to upgrade the servo and the Frog. I wish I didn't cheap out as much, but I did what I did. So we got those. We got a TBLE 04SR. The R stands for racing. A Tamiya controller with a fan built in. It looks so cool. And that's going to be going with this thing here. The TBLM 02S censored brushless motor, 15.5 turn. So I'm pretty excited about this. Those are some pretty cool. So I've got all the rest of the upgrades kind of organized into groups. We'll do the steering group for next, because I decided I'm going to. So we have the aluminum servo stays, so those hold the servo. We have the steering arms. We have the crank arm. And then we also have the aluminum steering bridge. So we have all of these upgrades for the steering. We'll put these over here. Next up we'll cover is the drivetrain. The drivetrain has a ton of upgrades. So first up, because of the infamous over-tightening in the plastic nut and differentials, I didn't get the nut. I just got gear diffs. So these are the TA06 steel gear differential units, the rears. And these work with the TD4 front and rear. So this is what I'm going to be doing instead of doing the nut upgrade. Otherwise, I would have got the nut for the ball diffs, or there's a Yeah Racing version of this with plastic gears. It's a plastic gear differential. You can get that too, and apparently that works. There's another gentleman that does videos, and he's using the Yeah Racing differential, and it worked pretty good, and he was happy with it. I forget who it is. I'll link to him in the description if I can find him. Next up we have universal shafts. So I got 2 of those for front and rear. I guess you only technically need the front because the steering can kind of pop out, especially if you don't limit it. But I got the front and rear, so we just did all of the steering. Next up we have the slipper clutch. This brings the it needs 48 pitch pinions, so you need to get new pinions anyways. But it brings the tooth count of this thing up to 79. So to make up for that, I actually have a selection of pinions. I got Tamiya 24 and 25, and then I have a Traxxas 23. So according to a gear ratio calculator, the 25 will give me a 23% increase in top speed. The 24 is a 20%, and this is a 17. So according to this gear ratio calculator, a negative number is higher top speed but more strain on the motor. Positive changes gives you more acceleration, less strain on the motor but a lower top end. So I'd have to go all the way down to 20 to get to around 4%, which is close to what it is stock. But I think it'll be fine because the sheet that Tamiya released for upgrades for this car had this listed, and had specifically this listed. So I'm assuming if they're listing this and this, it's going to be all good, but I guess it really depends on your motor. But I feel I have a pretty decent motor, so it should be okay. But if it does get a little too toasty or hot or something goes wrong, we can go down to a 23. I don't imagine I need to go down any farther. I do believe there's some level of leeway. So that's the drivetrain. We'll see how that goes. Next up we have like the suspension stuff. So we have a stabilizer set, aluminum rear suspension mount, the aluminum rocker arms, so that's for the front suspension. Aluminum damper set. So I got this. It comes with plastic dampers, but these are all metal, and of course I want the metal ones. And these are cool because you can just rotate that thing at the top to bring it up and down to adjust the tension. And I don't know how strong these springs are or how they'll compare to the springs it comes with. So we might mix and match. It also comes with fluid, and the car comes with fluid. So we may see what we're going to do there. I was considering getting the big bore shocks, but they're obscenely expensive. They're hugely expensive. So I decided to get. We also got this. This is a carbon rear stay for the shocks. It comes with 2 screws, which I think is weird. I'm assuming we can just use this stock though. We can just screw this in at the bottom, and then we can attach, instead of just, the original stay only lets you go here, but this gives you some more mounting options for the rear shocks. So that might be fun. I'm assuming I can just use this as is, as a straight replacement with no extra bits. If it fails, then I guess we'll just go with the standard one, but I'm hoping this works. We also have this, so the nuts don't come off the wheels. And that's it for all like these parts. The only thing I have left is the extra electrical. So have another switch for the LED system. This is the same that's in the Frog, and I know it works good. I have a 4 white LED set. Turns out that's 4 whites instead of being not 4 whites. I'm not super sure what I'm going to do with these. I also have the 2 reds I cut off the Frog one that I can splice back in there and solder. So we could have front and rear. I think rear won't be a problem hooking up because there's a lot of places to hook it up. Front might be an issue. But I also kind of want to leave all 4 on there because what I could do is I could use 2 front LEDs to be outdoor LEDs. And then 2 LEDs, one to light the shock area. Like one to light this area here so you can see the shocks. And then one for the cockpit maybe? I don't know. I'm undecided at this time. Also adding to this indecisiveness is this axial light bucket set. It's 7 different light bucket styles for 3 and 5 millimeter LEDs. So these are 5 millimeters. So I got these. It's the oval ones I'm really interested in. I really would prefer to get the lights mounted on the chassis inside the car, because if I mount them to the body, I'm going to have to have the wires set up in such a way that I can unplug it when I pull off. So I pull off the body and then unplug the lights. That's a pain in the butt. I would prefer just the bodies on the chassis, but that might not be an option. So we'll see. We'll see what that goes. But yeah, that's it. That is my entire upgrade for my TD4. It's a whole bunch of extra cool stuff, which will translate into a whole bunch of extra loose parts at the end that I'm not using. But that's what's going to make it fun, isn't it? So I'll be building this after I finish building the Unicorn Gundam. But I'm probably going to play some games before that, so I don't know when I'm going to build this. But not too long. But yeah, that's it for this video, and I thank you for watching and wish you all a fond farewell. Goodbye!